Hi, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we don't take you for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you find this video valuable, or if you find whatever we share here valuable, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, and then share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. Without wasting much time, let's have a quick recap of last week's setups we discussed in our previous video before we dive into the business of the coming week. So looking at the charts right now, we have NASDAQ. So last week we were expecting price to pull back to this area of interest to give us buying opportunities to the upside. Unfortunately, we missed. Price never pulled back to our area of interest, and then price just went straight to the TPs that we anticipated from last week. We have here AUDNZD, and so for AUDNZD, we're looking forward to see price pull back to this area of interest as well. And price actually just tipped the area of interest right before the NZD GDP news, and then price just took off, so we didn't get the opportunity to jump in or take part of this trade, so we missed this one as well. We also have here USDCHF. We're holding this buy trade from I think last 2 weeks, and then we're anticipating that price was going to continue upside, but then we got taken out I think during the FOMC, and then price bought back into profits, and then we actually missed out, so we took an L on USDCHF. So let's have a quick view of the economic calendar for the coming week. So for the coming week, we have the governors of the Reserve Bank of Australia and then the Bank of England speaking on Monday, and on the same Monday there's a bank holiday for JPY. And on Tuesday, we have the various PMIs for Euro, for GBP, and for USD. And later in the day, Fed Chair Powell is also going to speak, so we have to be very cautious around that time. On Wednesday, we're going to have the AUDCPI. On Thursday, we're going to have the monetary policy assessment and policy rates for the Swiss National Bank for CHF, and this news is very, very, very volatile. So if you are trading any CHF pair around that time, you have to be very, very cautious. It's very, very volatile. So please take note of that particular news. And then we have the final GDP for the USD later in the day, and then unemployment claims as well for the USD. And on Friday, we have the Cadjpy and then the USD core PCE price index. So these are the various high impact news we have for the coming week. Let's be on the lookout. So let's jump into the charts for the coming week. We have here DXY. So from the previous episodes, we're expecting price to either break below this first zone or break above the zone here. And I think before FOMC, price actually broke this area of interest, and then we now have a pullback back into the area of interest. So firstly, we'll be looking out for a reversal around this zone. We'll be looking out for a possible reversal from this zone for price to sell to the downside. But if we're not able to get this reversal at this particular zone, price can equally do this, buy a bit up, create a higher low, and continue the buy upside. This is another possibility that we can have in the market for the coming week for DXY. And but looking at the price action, we should be very bearish. Anything can happen. Price can just shift because the various pairs are all over the place. Some of the pairs are giving us a bullish sentiment, and some of the pairs are also giving us a bearish sentiment, or let's say a bullish sentiment for the USD or a bearish sentiment for the USD. So we have a very mixed reaction with the various pairs. So let's be on the lookout. We just have to wait for like further confirmations before we can engage in any direction that we want to trade. So let's move to the next. We have EURUSD. From the previous week, we were expecting price to break above the zone and give us a retest and buy to this zone above. But price just took off to the zone we have above, and then that's retraced back to the previous area of interest. So going into next week, if DXY goes bearish, then we should be expecting a reaction from this zone, a possible reaction from this zone, and get a buy back to the zone for the coming week. And price can also, if DXY does not weaken and it continues to strengthen, price can break this daily structural low, break it, give us a retest, and then sell. So let's be on the lookout and wait for more confirmations before we engage any trade for the USD pairs. We have here GBPUSD, and GBPUSD it's given a mixed vibe. So as we speak, GBPUSD is bearish on the weekly time frame and the daily time frame as well. So for the coming week, we can possibly have a lower high around back into this zone. That's if DXY continues to strengthen, you can have a pullback here and get a sell to the downside. Or we can have a possible reversal pattern within this zone here we have here and get a buy back to the upside as we were anticipating from the previous week. So we just have to wait for more confirmations to decide on what direction we would go for GBP USD. We have here USDCHF. USDCHF is actually playing out as a deep crab pattern where we are yet to meet the potential reversal zone, and price has actually pulled back into our very first area of interest. We are looking forward to a possible reversal pattern within this zone and give us a sell to the downside, or we'll look forward to price pulling back to this area of interest and then giving us a selling opportunity to the downside. And should DXY strengthen, we might see this area get broken. This structural high might get broken. We might get a retest to either this zone or this zone and get a continuation to the upside. So this is the bullish side of USDCHF, and then the bearish side has already been discussed. So let's move to the next pair. We have here USDCAD, and USDCAD is bearish weekly and bearish on a daily perspective as well. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to what we see here is that we are seeing a possible head and shoulder formation right here. So this is our left shoulder. This is the head. I'm sorry, I picked the wrong two. So we have a left shoulder, the head, right shoulder. So going into next week, you might look out for these possibilities. So this is the 4-hour time frame. Going into next week, if we are able to get a double top or a reversal pattern develop here, a possible double top here, and break this neckline, you can get a retest here and then look for selling opportunities to the downside. So this is the first possibility. Second possibility is if we get price to come and break this neckline and we get a retest, we can look for the selling opportunities to the downside. This is the bearish side of USDCAD. You can only shift bullish if price breaks this zone above and retests it and then keeps going to the upside. So we're going to look out for these scenarios for USDCAD. And we have here NZDUSD. And NZDUSD is extremely bearish, giving us all indications that the DXY is weak. So for the coming week, we'll be looking out for a very first pullback to this first zone, look for selling opportunities to the downside, or wait for a deeper or higher pullback to this second zone and look for selling opportunities to the downside. This can only shift bullish if price makes its way to break this particular zone or break this particular high and give us a retest and then buy into this zone. So for the coming week, NZDUSD is very bearish. We have here AUDUSD. AUDUSD on the weekly perspective is bullish, so it's still giving us a bullish vibe. So we are looking forward to a possible pullback into this zone to get buying opportunities to buy to the upside. That's if DXY weakens. If DXY does not weaken and price finds or breaks this zone, you can look for a possible pullback and look for selling opportunities to the downside. So just wait for price to develop more for us to take our decisions from there. We have here Cadjpy, and Cadjpy is looking very bullish now. So we're looking forward to a possible break of this area of interest with a daily candle and wait for a pullback into the zone and look for buying opportunities to the upside. This can only be invalidated, or this buying move can only be changed if price sells to break this zone below and then gives us a retest and sells to the downside. So looking at how price has developed, I'm actually bullish on Cadjpy for the coming week. We have here CHFJPY. CHFJPY is extremely bullish. So for the coming week, we are looking out for these two zones, for price to pull back into any of these two zones and give us buying opportunities, either a double bottom, an inverted and shoulder, engulfing candles, whatever pattern that price will give us to give us a confirmation to buy to the upside. In any of these two zones, we are going to take them from there. So we are very bullish on CHFJPY for the coming week. We have here EURGBP. EURGBP is also very bullish. So for the coming week, we're looking forward to a possible pullback to this very first zone and look for buying opportunities to this zone, or price might pull back a bit deeper to this second zone here and give us a buying opportunity, a double bottom, inverted and shoulder, or any confirmations that we can get in any of these two zones to buy to the upside for EURGBP. So I'm bullish on EURGBP. We have here EURNZD. EURNZD is extremely bullish as well. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback into this very first zone and get buying confirmations to buy to this zone above, or should price pull back a bit deeper to this zone, we'll still be looking out for the buying opportunities within these two zones. So we are very bullish on EURNZD. This can only be invalidated if price breaks below this zone, and it means price has actually now shifted bearish. But until then, we are very bullish on EURNZD. We have here GBPNZD, and GBPNZD we had this setup from episode 7, where we're looking forward to price to come to this zone and give us buying confirmations or bullish confirmations to continue the buy to the upside, or this second zone. So price actually pulled back to this very first zone to give us a reaction, and as we can see, if we drop down to a lower time frame, price is actually developing a possible harmonic pattern, which I would like to identify, and it's giving us a possible butterfly pattern. So this is our X, this is our A, this is our B. We're looking forward to a possible C within this zone, and then we have our D. So we are looking forward to price to pull back to this zone and give us buying opportunities to the upside. Price can equally drop a bit shallower. Price might not even get to this zone, it might just pull back to around these regions and then give us buying confirmations and continue to the upside. So let's just look out for the confirmations, the reversal patterns, and as and when they develop, then we can take our decisions from there. So we are bullish on GBPNZD. We have here GBPAUD, and GBPAUD is bearish on a daily perspective and bearish on the 4-hour time frame. And as we can see, price has given a nice head and shoulder formation within this area of interest. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback to this structural low or a bit higher and get selling confirmations and sell to the downside, targeting this one as the first TP and the second TP. So if you drop down to the 1-hour time frame, it's actually developing something like a bat or an alt bat pattern or an alt bat harmonic pattern. So this is the pattern that we identified. So this is our X, this is our A, so a possible B, and then we are looking for a possible C leg. Then we get our sell to the downside. I'll recommend the second TP as the max, even though we have another possible TP below to be safer to target the second TP and then get out of the trade. Yeah. So the next setup, we have AUDCHF. We had this trade or this setup from last week where we were expecting price to react from this zone and give us buying confirmations to complete this potential cipher or shark pattern on the 4-hour time frame. Price made its way to our area of interest and we are still waiting for bullish confirmations to join the buys to the upside. So on to next week, we look for maybe a double bottom here. We take our buys, or if we get any inverted head and shoulder formation here, we can consider our buying bias from this area of interest. So let's move to the next. We have EURCHF. EURCHF, we've been very, very bullish on this pair, and so going to next week, we're looking out for a possible daily candle break above this structural high, a daily candle break above, and then a pullback into this zone or somewhere around here. Look for buying confirmations and then we buy to the upside. Or when this formation develops, it can also be considered as an inverted head and shoulder. So if we break above, we might get a pullback to the neckline and get a buying confirmation or buying continuation to the upside. So we are very bullish on EURCHF. Price will only be bearish if it breaks below this zone and then gives us a retest and sells to the downside. We have here silver. Silver on a weekly time frame is developing a potential harmonic pattern, which is a bat pattern or an alt bat pattern. So until we meet any of these potential reversal zones, silver is going to be very bullish. Until then, so we are going to be looking out for buying opportunities for the coming week. So for the coming week, we have these two areas of interest where we'll be considering to take our buys from this very first one or the second one below. When price pulls back to any of these areas of interest, we should be looking out for reversal patterns or bullish confirmations to continue the buys to the upside. So the very first target is around $45.246 for silver. So we are very bullish on silver. So let's look out for this buying opportunities for the coming week. We have here crude oil. We have been very, very, very bearish on crude oil for weeks now, and then I think we are still getting our confirmations and price is becoming much clearer. So for the coming week, we should be looking out for a possible lower high formation from here, and then look for selling opportunities to the downside. For this is Brent crude oil. So we're looking out for a possible lower high back into any of these areas here. Look for selling confirmations, bearish engulfings, or any confirmation we can get within this area to sell to the downside. We have these targets to target for the selling opportunities that we'll be looking out for Brent crude oil. We have here natural gas. Natural gas giving us a very nice formation within this area of interest we have here. So if we move to the daily time frame, this should it go bearish, we might see a possible head and shoulder formation here. So these are the two possible scenarios we might be looking out for. Price can just might come here to give us a formation of a right shoulder, then break this neckline, and give us a retest and continue the sell to the downside. So we might see this head and shoulder formation, and the other variants for this head and shoulder formation that might happen is price might just drop, break this daily structural low, give us a pullback either to this structural low and continue downside, or pull back a bit higher to give us a right shoulder and then sell to the downside. So looking at the price action, we are very bearish on natural gas. This can only be considered bullish on a weekly perspective if price is able to break this structural high over here and give us a retest and continues. But until then, we are very bearish on natural gas. We have here US30. US30 is extremely bullish now. So next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback to any of these two areas, to any of these two zones, and then take our buys from there. So we look forward to price to pull back here, give us buying confirmations, or pull back to this second zone and give us buying confirmations to the upside. So we are very, 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 very bullish on US30, and this can only shift if we break below this zone and get a selling confirmation to the downside. But until then, we are very bullish on US30. Onto our last but one pair for the week. We actually had this setup from last week for FTSE 100 or UK 100. And we're expecting price to give us a reversal pattern around here to give us a possible C leg of this potential deep crab pattern on the 4-hour time frame. So the price formation here was not too clear. So for the coming week, we'll be expecting price to pull back a bit deeper into this zone to give us maybe a double bottom, an inverted head and shoulder, or any buying confirmation we can get from this zone or the second zone below. So we're looking forward to a pullback or for price to drop a bit lower into any of these two zones to give us a very clear reversal pattern to the upside. If we don't get that clear reversal pattern to the upside, then we might break this zone below and then we're looking forward to sell to the downside. So these are the possible scenarios for FTSE 100. Now on to the last pair for the week. We have German30, and German30 is currently reacting from a strong weekly area of interest. And then we are on to next week. Should price break, should we get a daily candle break above the structural high, get a daily candle break and we get a pullback into the zone to give us a possible right shoulder, we'll be looking forward to a buy to the upside to this target. So for the coming week, we are bullish on German30, and this can only be invalidated if price breaks below this zone and then gives us a retest to the downside. So these are the two possible scenarios we have for German30. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video. I will encourage you to apply proper risk management to your trades and trade safely. And I'll catch you on another episode. I wish you a fruitful and a profitable one ahead. And catch you guys later. Bye bye.